This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, everyone. Today my topic of discussion is meningitis. Meningitis means inflammation of coverings around the brain. Coverings around the brain are leptomeninges and pachymeninges. Leptomeninges are divided into two layers. One is pia mater, one is arachnoid mater. Inflammation of arachnoid mater is called arachnoiditis. Inflammation of dura mater is called pachymeningitis. Coming to meningitis, as usual, meningitis is a inflammation of either leptomeninges or pachymeninges. Meningitis is caused by various organisms. The most common cause of meningitis is bacterial cause. Among the bacterial cause, most common etiological agent is Streptococcus pneumonia, followed by Neisseria meningitis. Neisseria meningitis, group B Streptococcus, Haemophilus influenza, and Listeria monocytogenes. Among the newborns, most common etiological causative organism is group B Streptococci. This is the brain. This brain coverings around the brain. This is arachnoid mater. This is around it. This is dura. This is leptomeninges. This the inflammation of this leptomeninges is called meningitis. The classical meningitis involves this leptomeninges. In meningitis, there is infiltration and infection of leptomeninges causes there is an infiltration of leukocytes into subarachnoid space, because subarachnoid space or CSF is sterile. Normally, CSF is one of the sterile fluid in the body. As bacteria invade the subarachnoid space, leads to inflammation or infiltration of inflammatory markers and leukocytes into subarachnoid space, leads to formation of pus within the subarachnoid space. As the route of entry for meningitis are upper airway invasion or blood through bloodstream or infiltration of subarachnoid space in any CNS surgeries or any trauma to brain or any neurosurgical interventions. Meningitis causes three types of brain edema. One is vasogenic, interstitial, and cytotoxic. Vasogenic because there is inflammation of vascular vessel lumen, vessel structure leads to vasculitis. there is disruption of blood-brain barrier and infiltration of these leukocytes through blood-brain barrier into brain parenchyma. That is vasogenic edema. Cytotoxic edema because of these inflammatory cytokines destroy the brain parenchyma cells. That is cytotoxic edema. Interstitial edema means accumulation of fluid in the interstitium between cells. The late complication of meningitis is raised ICP. Raised means increase in intracranial pressure and brain ischemia. The most common sign seen in meningitis is most common symptoms in meningitis is headache. There is a classical triad of meningitis. One is fever, neck stiffness, and headache. Among these three symptoms, headache is the most common symptom in meningitis patients, followed by fever and neck stiffness. And in late stages, there is altrasensorium. All the patient need not to be presented with altrasensorium or in coma. Most of the patient present to the OPD with headache, followed by nocal stiffness and fever. There are a few signs we can elicit in meningitis patients. They are Brudzinski sign and Kernig sign. Brudzinski sign means flexion of neck causes reflex flexion of both knees, and Kernig sign means flexion of hip and extension at the knee leads to there is a traction of roots radicals causes severe intense pain. Kernig sign and Brudzinski sign are classical of meningitis. There are about 25% of patients can experience seizures, and few patients can experience focal neurological diseases like cranial palsy and hemiparesis. The non-invasive investigation ideal for meningitis is MRI rather than CT, because MRI delineates soft tissues more clearly than compared to CT. Followed by lumbar puncture. Lumbar puncture means we insert lumbar puncture needle at the level of L3, L4, or L5 S1 or L4, L5. The most common site of lumbar puncture is L4, L5 junction, because spinal cord ends at L1. There is a we should not puncture subarachnoid space above the level of L2. If we done that, there will be injury to spinal cord. There are few contraindications for lumbar puncture, that is immunocompromised state like HIV, chronic renal failure, chronic diabetes, or any immunodeficiency disorders, or there is any history of CNS disease like mass lesions and like CNS tumors, or massive stroke, or CNS hemorrhage. If patient has new onset seizure within 1 week of presentation, also there is a contraindication for lumbar puncture. And there is if a patient has a severe loss of consciousness or a patient in deep coma, we have to suspect raised ICT, and that is one of the contraindication for lumbar puncture. If patient has a GCS score less than 11, or any CT suggests of any midline shift or lateral shift, or any mass lesion in supratemporal or infratemporal places, also contraindication for lumbar puncture. If you done lumbar puncture in those patients, there will be brain herniation, leads to sudden death of the patients. These are other contraindication for lumbar puncture. Either skin infection. In the presence of skin infection, if you done lumbar puncture, there will be transmission of skin bacteria to subarachnoid space, leads to meningitis or arachnoiditis. And if there is any CNS mass lesions or a raised intracranial pressure, that is a major contraindication for lumbar puncture. If platelet count is less than 20,000 or platelet count less than 20,000, there will be chance of bleeding. That bleeding causes hematomegalia. Hematomegalia leads to paralysis. If patient has international INR more than 1.5, INR means INR more than 1.5 means presence of coagulopathy. In the presence of coagulopathy, lumbar puncture is contraindicated. If patient taking unfractionated heparin or low marked heparin, also contraindication for this lumbar puncture. The presence of any inherited coagulopathies like Van Willebrand disease, hemophilia, or trauma to lumbar vertebrae, all of these are major contraindication for lumbar puncture. After doing lumbar puncture, we have to take around 4 to 6 ml of CSF. This 4 to 6 ml of CSF sent for these kind of investigations like gram stain for identification of any gram positive bacteria, and estimation of CSF protein, and estimation of blood neutrophil count, estimation of neutrophil count in CSF, and any any protein and sugar, and this cell count are fluids and for culture. Gram stain detects almost 60 to 90% of the patients with bacterial meningitis, and the CSF lactate will be elevated in patient with bacterial meningitis. If CSF lactate is more than 35 milligram per deciliter, there will be chance of bacterial meningitis almost 80%. CSF normal cell count is less than 5 cells per cubic mm, but in patient with bacterial meningitis, the cell count rises up to thousands. Predominantly neutrophils. Neutrophil count is predominant in bacterial meningitis. Lymphocyte count predominant in tuberculous meningitis, or fungal or viral. These are the normal parameters of CSF in normal persons. CSF WBC count is less than 5, and polymorphonuclear count is less than 1. Eosinophil count is less than 1. Gram stain denotes no organism in normal CSF. CSF is clear, and xanthochromia means there is a presence of RBC in spinal fluid. This xanthochromia we can see in subarachnoid hemorrhage, rare cases of herpes simplex encephalitis. This xanthochromia, presence of xanthochromia is diagnostic of subarachnoid hemorrhage rather than meningitis or encephalitis. CSF to serum glucose ratio, that is 0.6:1. That is only 2/3 of blood glucose is seen in CSF. If blood glucose is 100 milligram, only 60 milligram of sugars are seen in CSF. The protein range of CSF is 15 to 45 milligram per deciliter, but the blood protein level is 3.5 to 4.5 to 7.5 milligram per deciliter. India ink stain. India ink stain is a characteristic diagnostic, one of the diagnostic method for identification of cryptococcal meningitis. And the CSF also sent for cryptococcal antigen if a patient if a patient is suffering from any HIV or AIDS. Cryptococcal meningitis is most commonly seen in patients with immunocompromised state like HIV. If CD4 count is less than 200, there will be highest chance of cryptococcal meningitis. If we suspect any cryptococcal meningitis, we have to send cryptococcal antigen test for confirmation of cryptococcal meningitis. And estimation of serum lactic acid. If serum lactic acid is less than 25, bacterial meningitis is less likely. If more than 35, that is bacterial meningitis or tubercular meningitis. And acid fast stain. If acid fast stain is positive, we can suspect it as a tubercular meningitis. If we puncture subarachnoid space, there will be sometimes bleeding through epidural veins. This epidural blood mixed with CSF, it can be mimic as hemorrhagic CSF or xanthochromia. We can differentiate that xanthochromia or hemorrhagic tap from normal CSF by counting as 1 RBC per 700 RBC. That gives true CSF WBC. Or we can apply this formula for estimation of true WBS, true CSF WBC. These are the commonest bacteria encountered in bacterial meningitis. If infants in neonates less than 1 month, E. coli or group B streptococci is the most common cause of meningitis. If age is more than 50, from 3 months to 50 years, most common cause of bacterial pneumonia is Streptococcus pneumonia, followed by Neisseria meningitis, and followed by Haemophilus influenza. The treatment algorithm for patients with meningitis are third generation cephalosporins. Most of the patients we have to give third generation cephalosporins like ceftriaxone 1 gram 12th hourly. For babies or in neonates less than 1 month, drug of choice is cefotaxime plus ampicillin. If babies less than 1 month and adults more than 50 years and immunocompromised patients, we have to add ampicillin. Ampicillin against Listeria meningitis, Listeria monocytogenes, because Listeria monocytogenes common in persons deficient with cell-mediated immunity. This cell-mediated immunity less in neonates and adults more than 50 years. That's why we have to add ampicillin to cover against Listeria monocytogenes. The rationale of ampicillin prescription in persons in babies less than 3 months and adults more than 50 years to antagonize the Listeria monocytogenes meningitis. Remaining all patients, we have to give ceftriaxone. Ceftriaxone is the drug of choice for meningitis. The dose of ceftriaxone is 1 gram 12th hourly or 2 gram 12th hourly, depending upon need. We have to add vancomycin. Vancomycin for patients with any person suspected with MRSA. MRSA means methicillin resistant staph aureus. These MRSA, MRSA is common in persons with trauma, head trauma or any spinal trauma, any injury penetrating subarachnoid space. We have to add vancomycin. Vancomycin coverage against MRSA. These are the treatment protocols. That is ceftriaxone 100 milligram per kg per day, 12 to 24 hours. These are the children. Per kg dose is given for children. Adult dose ceftriaxone 1 gram IVBD. We have to add steroid dexamethasone. Dexamethasone reduce the inflammation in subarachnoid space and prevent further neurological worsening of because of inflammation. Inflammation itself can be neurotoxic. These inflammatory cells can destroy brain parenchyma cells. That's why we have to give dexamethasone 20 minutes before administration of IV antibiotics. If we administer steroid after administration of antibiotics, there will be no use, because administration of antibiotics destroy the bacterial cell wall. This bacterial cell wall contain teichoic acid or endotoxins. These endotoxins and teichoic acid generate more inflammation. This more inflammation can destroy the brain parenchymal cells, and meninges leads to subarachnoid blockage or obstructive hydrocephalus. These complications can be prevented by prescription of dexamethasone. That is immunosuppressant. This immunosuppressant suppress the infiltration of neutrophils or inflammatory markers into subarachnoid space. The patient developed brain abscess secondary to meningitis, we have to add anaerobic coverage like metronidazole and vancomycin for MRSA coverage. Meropenem and chloramphenicol are next generation. If patient have multi-drug resistant or resistant to ceftriaxone, we have to add meropenem. If patient has brain abscess, we can also add meropenem. The ideal time for administration of steroid or dexamethasone 20 minutes before administration of antibiotics. The role of dexamethasone only lasts for 6 hours after meningitis. And other symptomatic treatment like IV fluid resuscitation. Most of the patients with meningitis in coma, they are dehydrated. To correct dehydration, we have to give IV fluids like tristlites. And if patient develops seizures, we have to give antiepileptics. If patient has coagulopathy, we have to treat coagulopathy with the FFP or fresh fusion plasma administration or clotting factor administration. If there is increased intracranial pressure, we have to do lumbar puncture. If there is hyponatremia or hyperpyrexia, we have to do antipyretics. For hyponatremia, we have to correct sodium. Hyponatremia, reason for hyponatremia in meningitis is there is development of SIDH. SIDH means syndrome of inappropriate antidiuretic hormone secretion. This excessive antidiuretic hormone secretion leads to hemodilution. This hemodilution causes hyponatremia. Rarely, meningitis can cause cerebral salt wasting. That is one of the reasons for hyponatremia. We have to give chemoprophylaxis. Those persons close contact with meningitis persons are healthcare workers exposed to meningitis or meningitis. These are the drugs commonly prescribed for chemoprophylaxis. One is rifampicin. Rifampicin given as 600 milligram twice daily for 2 days, or one dose of ceftriaxone 250 milligram IM, or ciprofloxacin 500 milligram 1 dose. One dose is enough for this Neisseria meningitis and Haemophilus influenzae bacteria. Mortality rate of meningitis is around 25% per pneumococcal and 20% per meningococcal. These are the late complications of meningitis. One is focal paralysis like hemiplegia or hemiparesis, intellectual disorders like cognitive decline, hearing loss because of damage to eighth nerve, and ataxia because of involvement of cerebellum or spinocerebellar tracts, blindness because of involvement of optic nerve, seizure disorder because of underlying encephalitis secondary to meningitis or infiltration of leukocytes into brain parenchyma, hydrocephalus because of occlusion of subarachnoid space, and central venous thrombosis due to inflammation of dural sinuses, and Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome is a severe adrenal insufficiency seen in patients with meningococcal meningitis. This Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome, classical or pathognomic of meningococcal meningitis. In meningococcal meningitis, there is severe adrenal insufficiency, leads to patient develop a severe hypotension refractory to IV inotropics or IV crystalloids. This carries more mortality rate around 40 to 50%. The mortality rate of Listeria meningitis is around 40%. Coming to viral meningitis caused by many viruses. These are Coxsackie. The most common sporadic virus causing most common viral cause of sporadic meningitis is enterovirus, followed by herpes simplex. Remaining all other viruses causing meningitis are Coxsackie A, B, echovirus, enterovirus, and HIV, mumps virus, herpes, measles virus, influenza, parainfluenza, arboviruses like West Nile virus, Japanese encephalitis, and lymphocytic oromeningitis virus. Treatment of choice for viral meningitis are cytomegalovirus. CMV virus can be treated with gamma-cyclovir. There is no specific treatment for Epstein-Barr virus. If patient infected with herpes B virus, you have to give valganciclovir. Herpes simplex treated with acyclovir. Which human herpes virus 6 treated with gamma-cyclovir or foscarnet. HIV treated with the heart therapy, combined heart therapy. JC virus treated with either reversal of immunosuppression or any, we can use cidofovir. And measles treated with ribavirin, Nipah virus treated with ribavirin, St. Louis encephalitis can be treated with interferon 2 alpha, and varicella zoster can be treated with acyclovir. Fungal meningitis, the most common cause of fungal meningitis is cryptococcal meningitis. If a patient has CD4 count less than 100, he will be predilection for cryptococcal meningitis. If any patient developed severe, any HIV patient complained of severe headache, we have to suspect cryptococcal meningitis. Other fungus causing meningitis are Coccidiomyces, Histoplasma, Candidiasis, Aspergillus. The drug of choice for these fungal meningitis is amphotericin B along with flucytosine. Other type of meningitis can be discussed in next class. Thank you.